Greetings, gentlefolk. Those who have graced my marble house well understand the necessity of my dissolution of marriage from Mr. William K. Vanderbilt. In the year 1896, I wed Mr. Oliver Belmont of Belcourt, an estate initially conceived as a bachelor's quarters designed around his prized steeds. I have since executed grand alterations upon the mansion to render it entirely suitable for proper society and elegant entertaining.
Hello everybody, and we're still in Newport, Rhode Island. So today we're at Belcourt Castle. While monumental summer cottages of Newport are famous for their symmetrical Italian Renaissance facades and strictly defined social layouts, Belcourt, formerly known as Belcourt Castle, stands out as architectural and cultural anomaly. One of the biggest differences that stands out right away as soon as you come in here is the entire mansion is built around the courtyard. Unlike the Breakers and the Elms in one of the other mansions in the area, this house was built for horses first, humans second. So pretty much this grand hall that we're actually standing in right now, and the entire first floor was built as a luxury stable and a carriage house. And that's what we can see in the picture right here. Belmont's beloved horses slept on the ground floor, reportedly under a fine linens with gold nameplates on their stalls, which of course would change once he marries Alva Vanderbilt, or formerly Alva Vanderbilt. But we'll get to that point later. Right now we're just going to stroll around this first floor, which was redesigned by the current, I'm assuming by of course, Alva when they got married, and current owners of the estate. So it is look a little different from the original. This mansion was designed by Richard Morris Hunt. While many of the Newport mansions adhere to strictly single architectural style, Belcourt is a highly eccentric hybrid. Newport society was built on seeing and being seen, with mansions showcasing their grand entrances and facades. Belcourt, who held a deep disdain for new money and rigid social circles of the era, deliberately designed Belcourt with its back turned to Bellevue Avenue. Guests allegedly entered through a modest, intentionally low-key entrance of the lodge road rather than sweeping front drive. And we're at Lower Grand Hall and Foyer. It's built in a French Gothic and Francis I Renaissance style. And it's totally different from any of those foyers or grand entrances of those mansions in Newport. So, you know, he was trying to set himself apart, I think, with every little bit of design in this house. Who knows, maybe that's why newly divorced Alva Vanderbilt actually fell in love with him. You know, and it's because he was probably totally different from everybody else in this area. And here's the doorway, which I guess was probably used when this used to be a stables over here. So there's a little bit left in this area. So when he married Alva Vanderbilt, this whole house went through the tremendous transition, because she wanted to pretty much have the same thing she had in other mansions that she lived at. She wanted to have a place to entertain guests, to have a ballroom, and make other different changes here and there, just to make it more, pretty much making it more that's what she's used to. Now, another thing about this house, it's not a stranger to paranormal activities, and you could probably find a lot of other materials online that would pretty much talk about it. We're not gonna get to it now, but it's very interesting. But we're at the music room.
Copied this ceiling design for the first-class dining saloons that were aboard the ship. And it became a standard as well for all White Star and later Cunard vessels. So you can imagine, one of these is at the bottom of the Atlantic as we speak. Now, over the fireplace here is an unusual family crest. Oliver designed it himself after his father August dies in 1890. And with it, Oliver wanted to honor family history. Now, the Belmonts weren't actually French by birth. They were German-Jewish. Their name was Schoenberg. They emigrated here around 1830 or so. His maternal grandfather, Commodore Matthew Perry, who opened up trade routes with Japan for the first time in centuries. And the largest panel over on the right is a phoenix, and that represents Oliver's changed ways from young playboy to respectable gentleman.
While many of the Newport's Gilded Age mansions feature a dedicated music room, The musical identity of Belcourt is entirely unique. Belcourt's music room history is tied to structural transformations, mid-century festival culture, and exciting modern evolution into a working state-of-the-art creative space. We made our way to the upper grand hall, which is like a center point of the entire second floor, built in French Renaissance style. It connects all of the principal rooms of the upper floor. And of course, like anywhere else in the house, see this interesting Gothic architecture, like the carved doors, the ceiling. It's very interesting. Wow, look at this beautifully carved chair. I mean, that's a very interesting item. Look at the detail. I mean, wow, amazing.
H's and M's in the carvings for Henry and Marie, and the rest of the carvings all pertain to the journey of their love and marriage. Now this staircase eventually gets moved to a Paris museum, and that's where Oliver sees it, because he toured Europe quite extensively throughout his 20s. He thought it was pretty cool, wanted a copy of it for his house, and he had enough financial backing to make it happen.
I'm sure you guys noticed that there are a lot of items from different eras in this house. That's because there were multiple owners after Oliver and Alva here. And each of those owners added their own touch to the house, and they changed it a little bit. It's very interesting how the styles and items from different eras kind of merged all together, and now we get to enjoy and see them.
Across the sky. The larger dome that's right underneath features alternating images of little cherubs and the same woman, making all different facial expressions. Quite a curious design choice for a divorced bachelor at the time. My favorite is this girl right over the drawing room here. Kind of looks like she's planning something. Now this room is based on the Hall of Mirrors at the Palace at Versailles, and it's a good thing too, because the electric light bulb in about 1900 or so averaged about 10 watts, so you can get the outside. The other two, right over here, do the same thing. Now you had a couple of options with these. Either you could lift them like I just did through a counterweighted system, or you could open them like traditional doors because they're hinged on either side. How many of you have been to Marble House by chance? These first come to Newport in the late 1950s. Their primary source of income was flipping and restoring houses. They had their sights set on sea verge initially. They wanted to restore and take care of the house in exchange for taking care of the aging Mrs. Rensselaer.
And this large elliptical room designed in French Empire style is the dining room. So it has this interesting trick. There's mirrors all around the room, but there's some that actually serve as windows. So it's very interesting, interesting design. And we're gonna make our way into the drawing room.
Now this drawing room, when Oliver lived alone, this would have been his smoking room. It was Alva's idea to convert it to the drawing room that it is today. Now a drawing room had a couple of purposes. It was either a respite spot for VIP guests or a more intimate, casual entertaining space. The showpiece of the room is once again the ceiling. It's actually painted plaster, made to resemble a look. And all the overdoors in the second floor hallway are the same thing.
It looks like the drawing room was another room that went through transformation once Oliver and Alva got married. So decorated in French Renaissance style with elaborate wainscoting and silk damask walls. It's a very interesting room as well, of course, with the items and beautiful designs here and the architectural solutions that was actually employed here. I mean, the fireplace is amazing. Wow, look at the carvings on it. It's like a work of art. And we're entering one of the largest rooms in the house, French Gothic Ballroom or Baronial Hall. It features 34-foot vaulted ceilings, a massive castle fireplace, and 13th century stained glass windows. I mean, those windows are beautiful. They're amazing. It's a crown jewel of Newport's eccentric Belcourt mansion. From a monumental fireplace bearing the emblem of French royalty to the hidden galleries where art orchestras played high above the crowds, it was a masterpiece of theatrical Gilded Age luxury. While other Newport ballrooms are filled with bright gold crystals and pastel silk, this one stands out because it looks like a moody, giant medieval castle hall with 13th century stained glass and towering stone ceilings. And it's actually one of the few rooms in the house that did not go through remodeling after Oliver and Alva got married. The whole divorce of Alva and William K. Vanderbilt is actually, is pretty much a very rare thing back then. And there are rumors that that William Vanderbilt hired somebody to actually pose as his mistress so he could divorce Alva. Like I have mentioned before, this house was owned by multiple people. So from 1894 to 1940, it was owned by pretty much Alva from the beginning. Of course, he had this house built for him, and then Alva, when she moved in. So he died around 1908, and Alva died in 1933. Which after she passed away, his brother, Alva's brother, Harry Belmont, took over. The period between 1940 and 1956 is known as a period of decline, and the house was even was a place to headquarters for a Newport Jazz Festival during that time. The Tinney family era was from 1956 to 2012. Harold and Ruth Tinney purchased the estate for just $25,000 in 1956. They renamed it to Belcourt Castle and filled it with massive collection of international antiques and reproductions. The family, including their son Donald and his wife Harl, lived in the mansion and operated a museum and event space for over 50 years. In 2012, the mansion was purchased by Carolyn Raffalian, the founder of jewelry company Alex and Ani. She renamed the property to Belcourt of Newport, and we're in the master bedroom, Oliver's Belmont bedroom, decorated in early Renaissance style with murals depicting the daily life of medieval noblemen. It opened directly onto the ballroom. When Belcourt was completed in 1894, this was the only bedroom in the entire 60-room, 44,000 square foot mansion, built as an ultimate Gilded Age bachelor pad for millionaire Oliver Belmont. The room features stunning fireplace inscribed with his personal motto, "Sans crainte, without fear." The design of the fireplace, it's slightly different from the other fireplaces that we've seen before. If you can see here, the exhaust is actually outside the wall versus some of the other ones were kind of buried inside the wall. It's interesting how it kind of tempers off towards the top, and it kind of has like beautiful carvings all around it. Tucked inside the room is an absolute marvel of 19th century engineering, the master bathroom. At the time when indoor plumbing was still a luxury, millionaire Oliver Belmont installed Newport's very first English-style standing shower. It stands today as a fascinating look at the cutting-edge, high-tech pampering of the Gilded Age elite. This staircase probably takes us to the third floor. There are a couple of things up there that were added by one of the families who lived here, but we're not going to be able to go there today. But there's a third floor here too. So we're gonna walk over to Alva's boudoir bedroom, and that's where it is. It's not fully restored right now, but I guess they're in process. But I can only imagine once everything is completed here, and this could be another interesting look. And here is, I guess, her bathroom and dressing room all together. I guess this used to be, I guess there's a tub here, and I guess they're still working on some of the plumbing here to restore.
Now, at the start of the Civil War, the family moves everything from their southern home over to Europe. Her father remains behind in England to take care of business interests. The rest of the family sets up house in France, and it's there that Alva receives a private school education and learns all about French art, history, and culture, which influenced the whole of her adult life. Now, at the conclusion of the war, she's a young socialite, but considering her father's line of work, let's just say the war had not been kind to the financial end of things for the family. Enough that Alva was concerned for her own financial future and that of the family she married into. She knew she had to marry extremely well. So in 1875, luck is in her favor. She meets William Vanderbilt at a party thrown by a close friend of hers, and a few months later, she marries him. The union lasts 20 years, produces 3 children, and famously ends in divorce in 1895. When she was older and reflecting on her first marriage, she described it as being akin to forced prostitution. The reason for this being, William's branch of the family was considered new money at the time, and the old
Belcourt has a very interesting story, and there's a lot more to the story which I just couldn't fit into this video because it would have been probably a few hours long, if not longer. So I would strongly encourage you, if you're really interested, to come here in person, of course, and see it. And if you can't, I'll research it online. There's a lot more to the story here. But I hope you guys got to at least see it a little bit and basically enjoy its beautiful architecture, you know, and a very different design from the rest of the mansions in Newport. Unlike many Gilded Age fancy mansions of Bellevue Avenue, this house took a totally different path. So it kind of, you know, it doesn't just celebrate the Gilded Age wealth, but it kind of serves as a monument to individual eccentricity and unconventional history. So I hope you guys enjoy our video today. I would try to give you a perspective on things and try to show you different places. We have other videos about Newport mansions, so if you wanted to, you can always check our channel. And I hope to see you in the next video. We have a lot more stuff coming up, so stay tuned, and I'll see you then.